Global markets are watching a new round of corporate and geopolitical repositioning. From multi-billion-dollar tech bets to the next phase of China's EV expansion, the week is already signaling how industries are adjusting to new power balances. And beneath the headlines, Africa finds itself at the center of two battles, one over telecom equity rules and another over corporate accountability. My name is Eniola Lunge, and here's today's Zoom Out for August 19, where I'll help you see the bigger picture. Japanese investment giant SoftBank announced a $2 billion investment in Intel, according to Bloomberg. This comes as Intel seeks to shore up its competitiveness in chip making amid global supply chain realignments. The deal may even involve the Trump administration converting some or all of Intel's CHIPS Act grants into equity stakes, a move that would blur the line between subsidy and state-backed industrial policy. The investment signals foreign confidence in U.S. semiconductor leadership, while also reinforcing the Biden to Trump era trend of governments taking more activist roles in high-tech industries. For Intel, this cash infusion could accelerate its foundry ambitions and strengthen its position against rivals like TSMC and Samsung. So what's your Zoom Out takeaway? This is bigger than just chips. It's industrial strategy on steroids. The US is edging closer to quasi-nationalizing its tech champions, and foreign capital is now underwriting Washington's push for semiconductor sovereignty. For the first time, Chinese electric vehicle makers are spending more on factories abroad than at home. According to multiple industry trackers, expansion is now targeting Europe, Southeast Asia, and Latin America. This reflects both slowing domestic demand in China and Beijing's intent to dominate the global EV supply chain. If successful, Chinese automakers could replicate what Japan and Korea did with cars in the 20th century, only much faster. So what's your Zoom Out takeaway? China isn't just exporting cars, it's exporting the factory floor. By embedding itself in overseas production networks, China is trying to make its EV dominance impossible to dislodge, even amid trade wars. Pharma giant Novo Nordisk will now offer Ozempic, its blockbuster diabetes and weight loss drug, at $499 per month for eligible US cash-paying patients. The move comes as the company secured new regulatory wins for Wegovy and faces rising competition from Eli Lilly and other players in the obesity drug race. By cutting prices, Novo Nordisk is trying to fend off rivals while making its therapies more accessible, potentially expanding the US weight loss drug market even further. Investors see this as a sign the obesity drug boom is maturing from hype into skill. So what's your Zoom Out takeaway? Weight loss drugs are reshaping not only pharma, but also healthcare economics, food industries, and even insurance models. Lower prices mark the start of a more aggressive battle for market share in what could be a $1 trillion global health shift. South African telecom giant MTN is facing a new US investigation into its past conduct in Afghanistan, even as it reported a swing to profit in the first half of 2025. However, MTN revised the South African revenue growth outlook downward, citing competition and a tough economy. The investigation revives old compliance concerns that could hurt MTN's ability to raise capital or expand internationally. At the same time, it underscores the risks African telecom companies face when operating across volatile regions. So what's your Zoom Out takeaway? MTN's struggle is a reminder. African corporations are increasingly global, but with global reach comes global scrutiny. Investors will demand higher governance standards before rewarding African multinationals with serious capital. Elon Musk's SpaceX has challenged South Africa's telecom laws that mandate Black ownership stakes in carriers, calling the rules openly racist. Instead, SpaceX has proposed equity equivalent programs focusing on infrastructure investments as an alternative to shareholding requirements. This dispute goes beyond telecoms. It touches on how foreign firms engage with South Africa's Black economic empowerment framework. If Musk prevails, it could reshape how global investors navigate ownership rules in African markets. So what's your zoom out takeaway? The clash pits global capital's demand for flexibility against South Africa's historic need for economic redress. How this fight plays out will set precedents for balancing inclusivity and investment in emerging markets. So the bottom line is this. From SoftBank's chip bets to China's EV factories abroad, we're seeing capital flow strategically into sectors that governments see as future-defining. Meanwhile, Africa finds itself in the crosshairs, whether through MTN's compliance risks or Musk's battle with ownership rules. Markets are being redrawn not just by who has the money, but by who writes the rules. What story grabbed your attention most today? Drop a comment, share your thoughts, and subscribe for more context with me. When the world zooms in on the noise, I zoom out so you can see the bigger picture.